This person is a scammer who tried to log into my bank account. Well, actually a fake bank account from a fake online bank that I completely coded myself. The special thing about my bank is that when someone tries to log into my account, I make them go through some pretty absurd security tests like turning on their webcam or even singing a song from Frozen. Well, in the language of the country they're from. All of this is supposedly to prove our identity and access my precious 10,000 fake euros. The idea is to see if, by accidentally giving my login details to scammers, they'll actually try to log in, track what they do on my site, see where they're coming from with their IP address, but most importantly, try to trap them in return. Well, I'm telling you, this video went much further than I expected. Both from a more serious perspective, it will help you understand more clearly how they operate and how far they're willing to go to steal from you. Before we start tracking scammers on all the networks to lure them into our trap, we need to build that trap. A fake modern online bank where I'll have total control over everything that happens on it. To create my bank, I first need a visual identity, meaning a name, a logo, and colors that will define it, and the brief is very simple. I want something that looks both serious, like a bank, but also modern, like a startup, to justify the site being a bit original. If we have people sing a song from Frozen to prove their identity, it's only because we're an innovative, pioneering startup. I'm curious to see if it works. No, seriously, don't worry, that's the strangest test we'll have. We'll slowly increase our requests, starting with a basic CAPTCHA asking them to do a calculation. And that will allow us to see exactly at which step the scammers give up. To find the name, I used a super conventional method imagined by the greatest entrepreneurs in the world. Hey!
Volko, give me some names that come to mind. Oh, I thought of Flowbank, Banky, Flowsy, Wizard, Miko. Wait, should we go back to the previous one? Wizard? Honestly, it sounds good. I like it.
I bought the domain wizard.eu, which sounds like a pan-European bank. Then I asked Nari, my graphic designer, to quickly propose a visual direction that fits the brief. I'll do that right away. Here's what we're going with. Modern typography, rounded edges, and green color because, well, we're talking about money. We didn't think too hard about it, honestly. Since the bank won't exist after this video, we won't do any market research. We already have everything to make our website quickly, as you'll see. yz.eu for now. This is how it looks, a blank page. We can add a gray background with a gradient using the visual identity colors. We can also add a small menu that will dress it up with the bank's name, and the login button, which is a bit special and I'll describe it to you in a moment. And most importantly, this. In the jargon we call this a hero section. In other words, it's the promise of our service. As we're targeting scammers who may be overseas, we'll pretend to be a bank specializing in international money transfers. It's really perfect when you live in a distant country and want to transfer money from a victim's Wizard account. Then we add a photo, some small animated info boxes with numbers to make it look professional. And since we're not going to spend 10 years on this because that's really not the most interesting part of this video, here's a quick compilation of all the made up stuff we put on the site to pretend we're a real bank. 16 million active users, I have a lot of accounts. 10 million money transfers per month, a robust one, 40 available currencies among those. 160 destinations available worldwide, still not true, customer testimonials. Avante, clear pricing, no hidden fees. Not true. A comparison between us and other traditional banks. They're better. The fees we take per currency, a lot. Or even a realistic footer with lots of pages that nobody reads like support, blog or careers. Yes, as a fast-growing startup, we're hiring. Let's build the future of borderless money. Ah, you get the idea? We want to look real and at the same time add a little subtlety. On my website, I added a robots.txt file that prevents search engine bots from indexing my page on Google, for example. That way, the only visitors who will go to my site will be the scammers to whom I gave the URL of my site. For obvious reasons, I don't want innocent people to stumble upon it. Now, the next step is what happens if we click on this button, log in. It's going to get interesting because that's exactly where we're going to set up the absurd security tests we're going to put the scammers through. Just to remind you, the idea is that I'll pretend to be someone a bit clueless who leaks his credentials and the WISD URL to scammers. They'll end up here on this login page. You can't really create an account on it. You can only log into my fake account, and that's exactly why we created a fake profile, John Fayard, with a Gmail address made just for this occasion. johnfayard79.gmail.com. I can log in. For now, nothing happens. Well, there's just this pop-up. Actually, quick legal aside. As a conscientious developer, I wrote in the site's footer and in the legal notices that this site is a parody of a bank, that it's not a real bank, that it's not public. And when I log in, this pop-up clearly informs me that by continuing to log in, I confirm that I am Mr. John Fayard and that I accept the terms of use. Namely, that information will be recorded by the site, such as the IP address, the webcam, and all the actions the user takes. It's really just symbolic, you know? When a guy's hungry, he won't waste time reading that, you'll see, but he can't say he wasn't warned. Now, at this step, we'll add our security test. We reuse our background, place the logo at the top, and explain below that a suspicious connection was detected and a test is needed underneath. Spoiler, you'll laugh. We're going to create 3 different security levels, each containing 3 different tests. The idea is that at first I'll test the scammers with the first security level, which will have very simple tests. If it works, we'll raise the difficulty. We'll start with the first security level, low security. This is our first test, just the basics. A standard CAPTCHA. Simply copy the characters from an image. I hope they manage. If we pass, we'll try the second test. This time we have to solve a very simple calculation like 4 times 7. Same thing up to this point. I hope the guy can do it. And then we ask for a calculation that's just a little bit more complex. How much? Just a little. And that's where we'll see how determined the guy is. We'll see if he solves it and how quickly. If I catch scammers at this difficulty, I'll try the moderate level. This time we don't waste time. We ask to activate the webcam. We ask him to turn his head left and right to prove he's human. If he does, we have him read a hard text. I actually googled difficult dictation and copied the text. And here, actually, I have an important point to share with you. You'll see it in a moment. We've already started reaching out to scammers, and we quickly realized that even though they spoke to us in French on social media, they actually didn't speak French. They must have been using AI or translators. To ensure users understand the site and can take our security tests, we made the site automatically translate into each user's language. And so, that famous dictation text too, it was pretty funny to see. Finally, the third step is to ask them to turn on their screen sharing. It's the same feature as when you're on Google Meet and you share your screen. The browser allows that. So if he accepts, we'll see his PC screen and maybe find other victims. He might give up at this point, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. If this works, we'll test the hard security level. Maybe we went too far this time. That is, in the first test, we asked to turn on the webcam and to do a dance in POV mode, like the scammer who just wanted to make a little transfer to his bank account. I don't know if he'll do it. If he does, the last test is having him sing a song from Frozen. Oh, I don't really believe it at this level of difficulty. I think that'll be the limit. Now, maybe these guys are really willing to do anything. The question you might be asking yourself now is, what happens if the person passes these tests? Actually, they'll arrive on my account with this page showing the account balance. Obviously, it's very attractive, but completely fake. He can try to make a transfer, the buttons work, but he'll just be wasting his time, it won't work. Meanwhile, we've collected a whole bunch of interesting information about him. You're going to love it. We'll have fun tracking down scammers on social networks next. First, let me quickly show you the admin panel behind my experiment, which has 2 interesting features. First, in this component, you'll find the list of all the accounts available on YZ. You'll quickly realize that the only thing that changes from one account to another is just the password. I'll give each scammer a unique password, so when they log in, I'll know exactly who tried to connect from my open conversations. This lets you select the security level from the 3 we defined earlier, allowing gradual increases during the experiment. Below, you'll see all sessions started when someone logged in. Basically, when someone logs in, we get their IP address. From that, we get their PI, we also have their operating system, but most importantly, we get the results of the security test they performed, and the little bonus is this button. It generates a video replay of the session for us. It's a magical tool that lets us create a video showing the person's interface and all their actions. For example, if they try to make a transfer at the end, we can watch how they do it. That's how curious I am. Now that you know my plan, I'm sure you're as eager as I am to see if it works. To do that, we need to attract our first scammers. Well, usually we don't go looking for scammers ourselves. They're the ones who come to us without us inviting them. I searched everywhere because there are too many places to look. I looked for sites to get free V-Bucks and Robux by searching on the internet, on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Every time you end up on the same site, there's a guy who has a monopoly on this scam. I checked out Vinted, the people who, for example, offer cheap iPhones and want you to pay outside of Vinted. Supposedly, it would be safer. Lol. Spoiler, one actually asked me to switch to WhatsApp and pretended he shipped the iPhone to me. He sent a photo of a DHL paper with the name I gave him, John Fayard. He says he's sending the iPhone, then asks how to handle payment. Nobody does that. I'm going to drop my WISE credentials and say I'm old and don't really know how to do it. I also searched every social network for courses on getting rich. There are so many. Shout out to Stephen Coach, who made his first million at 18 and now offers us a way to get rich so we can quit our low-paying office jobs. This pitch sounds so cliche and familiar. If it exists, people must fall for it. I also found shady Discord servers. Thanks to a subscriber, I found one where guys yell at each other and trash talk their victims. It's so unhealthy. We played along. We posted this message like, yeah, we found a victim and here are the credentials. Yeah, Volko and I weren't very comfortable being there. There are also people selling fake concert tickets. Shout out to Amor, the ticket seller. You must pay before she emails the tickets, not us, Amor. I gave her my info and she sent a screenshot at the security test, realizing something was off. I could do this for a long time. There are scammers in every corner of the internet. Now, I won't lie to you, when we give out our banking credentials, well, they're not really used to it being that easy, so they get suspicious. And in 90% of cases, they stop talking to us. There are 10% of people who are desperate to find a victim and who try anyway. Another way scammers find victims is through emails and text messages. It's harder to lure them without sharing your number publicly. Usually they get your number from leaked databases. That's why I asked for your help to cast a wider net. I shared a form on my Discord that allowed you to send me the scammer's number or email along with screenshots as proof. I received a huge number of them. There really are too many scams. Especially this guy who's pretending to be the customer support of a well-known bank. Well, let's call him at that number. I bet if I call and ask, "You're Wised customer support, right?" they'll agree without knowing what it is. Then I could just give them my login info so they try logging in. The number you dialed is not assigned. I kept tracking relentlessly for an entire week and now you can get your popcorn ready. I'm going to show you the results we managed to get for each level of difficulty. Let's begin with the least impressive. Did scammers pass the CAPTCHA and 2 math tests? Yes, unsurprisingly, otherwise this video wouldn't exist. We'll watch their session replay to see how they did. First, there's a person selling get-rich courses. He's stereotypical with Instagram photos of him in Dubai. Spoiler! Oh damn! Oh, that's stupid! Cocorico, this is exactly the kind of fun fact I wanted to do this experiment for. Don't believe everything you see on social media. On the site's replay, you can see that he did the CAPTCHA challenge without any difficulty. For the mental math, he hesitated a bit but answered correctly. He generates millions a month but gets stuck on a 9 times 7. And on the more complex calculation, no, he waited a long time, he finally answered, I guess thanks to the internet, and after that, it's totally predictable. Once he got to the account, he tried to initiate a transfer and entered his banking information to pay for his training. It's still a good example to start with. We struggled, but we're excited someone fell for it. A few days later, a second person appeared. He's surprising, and we can't tell which conversation he came from. Apparently he's from Nigeria, and the site's replay displays in English. For the first CAPTCHA test, he had no problem. Makes sense. For the 9 times 7, he answered super quickly. That's good. He knows his multiplication tables well. For the next calculation, it's funny. You can see he selected the text, so he must have copied it. And right after, he answered correctly. The weird thing with him is that he didn't continue. Right after, he logged out of the site. It's really strange. We didn't understand why. After so much effort. Now we'll start the webcam challenge and the recitation. That's what's excited me about this idea from the beginning. We'll finally see who these people are. This time we caught a Spaniard, which just goes to show there really are scammers of all nationalities. What bothers me is that they always speak to us in French, which says a lot about their intentions. He turned on his camera for the first test, which is funny and strange to see. For you it's blurred, but he looks very skeptical. You can see it in his eyes. What's even weirder is that he seems to be in a bathroom. There are tiles on the walls, and at one point you can see there's a shower curtain behind him, and he has a shirtless friend next to him. It's so random. There's also the recited text, clearly translated into Spanish.
Para decirlo sin rodeos, esta cena en site adrese cerca.
Great Spanish accent and no complaints, but I couldn't understand him. I'm glad it worked and the site functions well. Unfortunately, the next step required screen sharing. And then, he waited 5 long minutes before closing the site. Too bad. You have no idea how insanely hard it is to find people who connect to Waze and do the tests. I thought we would have a lot more people, but now with Volko we're struggling. We've been trying for days. A little sequence of lots of different conversations. Also, at the same time, seeing someone give out their bank details, it feels really weird. I kind of feel like the cop from that meme on Snapchat. There you go. Finally, regarding the maximum security level where we tried to make the scammers dance and then sing Frozen, the results are clear. They all gave up. You can see it clearly in the session replay. They reach this page, pause for a few seconds, then close it. Is anyone here surprised by that? No, I have to admit, we kind of knew that ahead of time. That's why we didn't keep going indefinitely. We were already very happy with the results we managed to get. It's pretty terrifying to see that some people are willing to do anything to rip others off. When I set this idea in motion, I didn't expect how far it would go. I won't insult you by saying not to share your banking info with strangers. But if one day you get a call from a bank's customer service claiming there's a so-called fraudulent transfer, it's actually happened to me, I advise you to hang up and call your bank's number to confirm it's really your bank. With that, this was Awen. Take care.